We are reading fantasy for the first time today, and you guys know I'm like a romance thriller girly, so this is an interesting video, so make sure you subscribe because there's new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope you guys enjoy. Today is the day that we are starting Fourth Wing. You guys have been waiting for this day for, I literally can't even tell you how long, so we are finally doing it today. We are also going to be reading tons of fantasy in this video. I do not know how I'm going to enjoy fantasy. I've never DNF'd a book, so I feel like I picked up like 3 fantasies that are really gonna fit what I think I'll enjoy. But this book is long, like long. But I really want to finish all the fantasies this weekend. So I'm probably gonna just like read and like relax and like update you guys throughout the day. But I don't know like how fast I'm gonna read these, if I'm even gonna like get invested in these. I literally don't know. This book is 400, no, take that back. This book is 500, oh wait, no, let's see. Yeah, 517 pages. Guys, is this book going to make me not wanna read fantasy anymore? I don't know. Okay, well, we're gonna read 3 books. I have 3 on my list. This one I already shared with you guys, but there's 2 others I don't know if I've shared with you guys of like what I'm gonna get. Or if you've been watching the vlogs, actually you probably do know because I think I did mention it in one of my videos. But we're gonna go outside, watch the sunset, read for a little bit, and then I will like give you guys my updates and thoughts once I kind of get into it a little bit. I'm literally so nervous. Since we are officially like a few pages in or a good amount in, I'm on page 56. I feel like this is a good time to give you guys an update. I also have a little haul for you guys, a book haul. I think I'm gonna be doing book hauls most of this video, like pretty much every day, because I have been sad girl shopping. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I swear whenever I get like sad, I immediately want to like shop, and I've been like gravitating towards books and cozy clothes too, but books in particular. So I picked up some books. I already opened it up, but I didn't like read the backs of the books because I couldn't remember what like books I got. First book I picked up is Nubia by L.L. McKinney and Robin Smith. This is one of the same authors who wrote Wash Day Diaries. Robin Smith, I think, was one of the like illustrators. On the back it says, "Can you be a hero if society doesn't see you as a person?" Nubia has always been a little different. As a baby, she showcased Amazonian strength by pushing over a tree to rescue her neighbor's cat. But despite Nubia's similar abilities, the world has no problem telling her she's no Wonder Woman. Even if she were, they wouldn't want her. Every time she comes to the rescue, she's reminded of how people see her as a threat. Her moms do their best to keep her safe, but Nubia can't deny the fire within her, even if she's a little awkward about it sometimes, even if it means people assume the worst. When Nubia's best friend, Quisha, is threatened by a boy who thinks he owns the town, Nubia will risk it all, her safety, her home, and her crush on that cute kid in English class to become the hero society tells her she isn't. It says that it is a vital story for today about equality, identity, and kicking it with your squad. And it is a graphic novel. I just feel like this will be fun. I have been really gravitating towards graphic novels because they're easy, they're quick, they're fun, and that's like what I'm in the vibe for, is like fun. I also picked up Everyone's Thinking by Alina Omotoni. I think I literally ordered this without even knowing what it's about because the cover is so pretty. It's giving like, I don't know, it's giving I don't know what it's giving actually, but it's a really pretty cover. On the inside it says, within the walls of Woodbury Hall, an elite boarding school in the English countryside, reputation is everything. But aspiring photographer Ianu is more comfortable observing things safely from behind her camera. For Ianu's estranged cousin, Kitan, life seems perfect. She has money, beauty, and friends like Queen Bee Heather. But as a Nigerian girl in a school as white and insular as Woodbury, Kitan struggles with the personal sacrifices needed to keep her place and the protection she gets with the exclusive popular crowd. Then photos from Ianu's camera are stolen and splashed across the school the week before the Valentine's Day ball, yet with a juicy secret written on it. With everyone's dirty laundry suddenly out in the open, the school explodes in chaos, and the whispers accusing Ianu of being the one behind it all start to feel like deja vu. Each girl is desperate to unravel the mystery of who stole the photos and why, but exposing the truth will change them forever. This looks really, really good. I don't know if this is a new release or not. Like, I am a big, like, if I hear about a book, I feel like I'll like it, I'm buying it immediately, because I feel like when I hear about a book, sometimes I'll never hear about that book again, and I don't want to miss out on a good book, you know? And I've never heard about anyone talk about this book, but I probably just saw like someone share it somewhere, and then I was like, ooh, that looks good, and then I bought it. So now I can share it with you guys. I will link it below. I also am gonna have some book hauls, I think tomorrow and maybe the day after, because I have 4 more packages, but I'm just gonna like split them up because I feel like it's fun to open a little package every day. Now, for the little update of Fourth Wing, like I said, I'm 56 pages in. My initial thoughts when I picked up this book, I literally was like, I'm going to be bored. It is not boring at all. I have like really enjoyed it so far. I was telling my husband that I don't know if it's gonna be a book for me unless romance starts like coming into the picture, because I am just a romance girl, and like I do like thrillers, but I think what keeps me into a thriller is like the suspense and like the knowing. And in fantasies, I feel like there's a lot of action, which keeps me super engaged. Like, it keeps me reading. I don't want to put it down, but it's like, it's different, you know? So I will be really interested to see how I like the like romance when it comes into play, because I feel like that's really gonna hook me. But there's tons of dialogue. Like, I swear, like, you guys told me there's tons of dialogue. You were not kidding. Like, this is a super dialogue heavy book. And it also, like, from the very, I think like the 3rd page, you're like in it. And even the first 2 pages, like you're like progressively like moving to the direction of like something that's like happening. It's fast paced. So it's definitely a thriller, or not thriller. It's a fantasy that I see why people enjoy it. I'll just be interested to see like how I like it as I keep reading, because obviously it is 500 and something pages. But right off the bat, I like the characters. I'm invested. I want to know what happens to them. I'm invested just in the whole storyline. Some things are a little confusing, but what I like is that Rebecca Yarros is not spending hardly any time world building. There's one point where the main character, she was like trying to get through something, and to like stay focused, she was like reciting like the history of like where she lives, and she was reciting it in a way to like stay focused on what she was doing, because she was like a little scared. But I think for the reader, Rebecca Yarros was trying to give us some backstory without making it boring, and I really enjoyed that, because it didn't feel like I was just reading through what like the area was like, but I still was getting like information, if that makes sense. So I don't know, she's a good writer. Like, I've never read anything from her, but I do own I think like 2 books from her. I've just never read them. And now I kind of want to read the other books. So I'm like, if she can write a fantasy like this, then she can definitely like write a good romance. But I'm going to head over to Brady's office because he like wants to do some work over there. So I think I'm just going to take my book and like read while I'm over there. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated as I keep reading this.
Searching for something that ain't lost. Have we got our lines crossed? We're wasting time on stuff that doesn't really matter, while wishing for something.
It's time for a little update on this book. So I'm pretty far into it. I'm on page 232, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm so glad that you guys actually like kept telling me to pick up this book, because with it being like my first true fantasy since like Twilight, I feel like it's such a good like introductory book. It has so much dialogue. And I feel like if it didn't have as much dialogue as it does, I would like literally not want to read it. I would be like bored. But it just like the pacing is really, really fast. So I have read in pretty much like a day and a half or so. I've read pretty much like halfway. And I still am like deeply invested where I like want to read it. I will say I haven't really gotten to a huge like part of the romance. So if you're someone who's never read this book and you're thinking it's going to be like romance heavy, I think in my head, because I read romance, I'm expecting it to be like heavy romance, because like, I mean, if you read romance, like that's what you expect. It's like the whole story is romance. But I will say the first half so far has been a heavy subplot of romance. Like there's like a trickle of it and it's there, but it's not like at the forefront of the story. And I'm hoping that picks up a little bit because I can feel, I don't know, I feel like I really want to get the romance part of this. Granted, it is a fantasy, obviously, but so many people are like, it's heavy on the romance, it's a romantasy. And I don't know if it's heavy on the romance because, like for other people, because of like how little romances are in fantasies, or if I just am so used to romance being like just true heavy like romance, you know what I mean, that I am expecting too much from this book. So we'll see. I'll definitely keep you guys updated as to like how I feel about it. So far I'm really enjoying it, and it's definitely like making me like excited that I picked up a fantasy. I do think that if you don't normally read books with like action and stuff in them, then I don't know if you'd like this, because like I grew up watching like action movies and stuff, and like I've always loved romance like movies more than action movies, but I literally grew up watching like every Friday night we would have like our family movie night and we would watch some kind of like action movie. And there's a lot of action in this, like a lot of things that I feel like if you don't like action, or if you don't like, I don't know, things that you would see in like an action movie, you might not enjoy those parts of it. And this is like, that's a heavy part of the plot. I don't know why I was going to this thinking it would be like Twilight. Like in Twilight, they were very obviously like, you know, it was a fantasy because there's like vampires and stuff, and there is some action, but like they're in school, he's like telling her how he feels, and then they end up like getting older and like falling for each other, then they have to fight the Volturi and stuff. So the fighting was kind of like at the end, and it was like a part of it, but not really like a part of it. It was like mostly the romance, and I think that that's what I was thinking that this was. Now, could that change? 100%. I am about halfway through, and there definitely is a heavy line of romance, like a heavy subplot. You can tell like who she's kind of interested in, and you are like rooting for like certain people, but it's still like no one's like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like there hasn't really been a ton of like actual stuff happening in the book that's like, I don't know, at the forefront for romance. So those are my thoughts so far. Very jumbled thoughts, but my thoughts so far. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't decided what book I'm going to pick next, but let's go and like pick that now. So I think this is what I'm going to start next. It is definitely scary because it's literally 500 pages and I'm already reading a pretty thick and heavy book, but I kind of want to get like the thick books out of the way, because the next book that I have is like not quite as thick as this one. So this is what I'm going to start next. It's obviously another fantasy, but this one's also supposed to be like very heavy in the romance. So we'll see how I feel about this after I finish Fourth Wing. Time for my update on Fourth Wing. I ended up finishing it and I really did enjoy it. I think this is the perfect book for someone who's like not into fantasy and wanting to get into it, because there's so much dialogue. I loved it. I rated a 4 out of 5 stars. I'll say the first like 30-40 pages I wasn't like super into it, but by like page I think like 50-60 I like really got into it. It wasn't like the I couldn't put it down feeling, but it was like I had to finish it feeling, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like thrillers, like I read them and just gobble them up and can't put it down, and I feel like this book wasn't necessarily like that, where I like felt like I literally couldn't put it down, but it was like so good that I just didn't want to put it down, if that makes sense. And I really breezed through the first, I'd say 250 pages, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. The first 250 pages, there's like constantly things happening, like it just was super fast. And then by 250, 300, it slowed down just a little bit until like page 400. But it wasn't slowing down because of like world building or anything. It just was like them at the school or the academy or whatever. And there was still tons of dialogue. So it was still like really easy to get through. Obviously, I finished this in literally 2 days. And the fact that I finished this in 2 days and it's like 500 pages and a very tall book is wild to me. Like the next book that I plan on reading is so much shorter and thicker, but this is like tall and thick. So I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I think that if you've never read fantasy, this is a good book to read, but going into it, know that it's not gonna have the type of romance that like Twilight has. Everyone kept saying like, it's a romanticize, so you'll have like tons of romance. I feel like there was a like subplot of romance through the whole book, but it wasn't like heavy. Like it's not a romance, you know what I mean? And I think I thought it would be kind of like Twilight where the romance was like so heavy, and it wasn't really that. I'd say the romance didn't really come into play until like maybe 300 pages ish, or maybe 200. So yeah, it just didn't like give the crazy romance vibes that I was expecting, but it was still really good. I also think that you will only enjoy this book if you also enjoy like action. Like I grew up watching like Marvel, and I grew up watching like action movies, so I'm very comfortable with like action, just like plot lines. But if you're not super like enthralled by an action like movie, then I don't know if you'll like this. I personally think that I could see myself, if there's more fantasies like this, sprinkling them in between my romances, because I think it's a nice like palate cleanser. And I feel like that's kind of what I use thrillers for. Like when I've read too many romances and I'm just like ready for a break, I'll like throw in a thriller and it just like mixes it up. And then it kind of makes me miss romance. I feel like that's what I'll use like maybe these types of like fantasies for. But then again, I don't know, maybe this book is a one of a kind. Comment below if you've read any fantasies that you just think are so gripping that like I won't want to put it down. Now, I do think I'm going to read Powerless, but I think that this is actually going to be the last book that I read because I need to read like a shorter book. This is another book that's like 500 pages, and I'm just like wanting to get through something a little bit faster. I'm used to like fast books, even though I did finish this in 24 hours, like, or in 48 hours. So it was still fast, but it still was like a long book. I think I'm going to read Shatter Me by Tare Mafi. I literally don't even know how to say the name. But I think I'm going to read this because it just seems like it's going to be the type of book that I want to read. And it's also very short. It's only like 300 or so pages. Supposed to be super fast paced, so I have really high expectations for this one. I also have a little haul. But speaking of hauls, I think that I'm actually gonna take you guys with me to the bookstore, and maybe we can go buy Iron Flame together because I like want to buy it after reading Fourth Wing. I have 3 packages here, so I'm gonna open this one first. I know that these are all books, and I'm really excited to see what I got. I ordered these 2 books. Ooh, yay. Okay, so this is part of the Collide series by Millie Belazar. This is the author who wrote Fast. Literally love that book. I rated it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And she has a book called When Worlds Collide, which is the first one. The second book is When Hearts Collide, and the third book is When Souls Collide. So I just had to jump back into her writing again because her writing is really, really good. Fast is like such a gripping friends to lovers, where I feel like there's so much more than just like the romance. Like there's so much about like healing your trauma, and it like shows her life from I think age 8 all the way up to like 32, which I really enjoyed. So I got another book of hers. I'll let you guys know if I like it. Maybe she's like a one and done author for me, I don't know. I also got Unconditional, which is a love story by Sean. I read Untouchable by her and really enjoyed it, so I had to get the second book in this series. And on the back it says, their worlds crash once, it's about to happen again. Charlotte Charlie is the nickname. Kennedy has it all: a comfortable life, a wide social circle, a trust fund to fall back on. All she needs is a chance to prove that she deserves it. Damien St. Lafleur, ooh, fancy, that's a fancy name, has built something out of nothing. His immigrant parents are already proud of his Wall Street success, but something draws him back home to Palm Beach, right where it all started, and right into Charlie's path. The two of them are suddenly forced to work together, let go of their past hangups, and work through their complicated expectations. But who's to say they won't get it right this time around? I read the Untouchable by Sean super fast, so I feel like I'll read that also fast. This is not a book. I bought a Denman brush. So, yeah, I literally did not realize that this isn't a book, but I needed, oh no, this isn't a Denman brush. This is a wave brush. I have been trying to wear more protective styles. So like I'll part my hair down the middle and kind of put it in like a low bun with my like claw clip. But my hair is like so curly, it hasn't like been staying down. So I've been trying to like get it to lay, and I want it to lay without like putting on a ton of products because I feel like the products just like gunk up my hair sometimes. So we'll see how that works, but I got that brush. I also have a Denman brush coming. And I know that this is books. Man, this is hard to open. And this is, let's see what we got. Do we have one book here? Okay, perfect. I ended up getting Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young, and this is the book that comes after Next of Kin, which I did buy Next of Kin, and I really like want to read it. It's on my TBR for this month. This says a fresh story with whip smart humor, delicious steam, and an abundance of heart. Lane is in the middle of an identity crisis. Her friends are all partnered up, her career is leading nowhere, and simply put, she's not happy. So after a night out celebrating, drinking on her birthday, she makes one heck of an impulse purchase, a giant yellow 48 passenger school bus that she intends to make a home. With little to no renovation experience, but a large sum of inheritance money, Lane enlists the help of her friend Matt, a mechanic by trade, handyman by practice, and hottie by nature. While their mutual attraction is undeniable, Matt and Lane have silently agreed that a friendship is the only thing that can ever exist between them. Matt's a total family guy with settled down with me tattooed across his forehead, whereas Lane is entirely commitment averse. So when Matt offers to help her with the bus and in the bedroom with no strings attached, Lane's feelings evolve faster than you can say just good friends. But soon she discovers that in order to build something new, she has to first heal her past. And the words in this look literally huge. So I feel like this is gonna be such a fun book to read. Never read anything by her, but I just feel like I'm gonna like her book, so I'm taking a chance and just hoping for the best because I very rarely buy multiple books by an author. If I've never read anything from them. But yeah, this is a little book haul of all the books that I got. Let's head outside and read Shatter Me. I'm hoping that it's as good as Fourth Wing, but honestly, you just never know. But I'm also hoping that I can finish this and so I can just like give you guys a quick little update because it just looks like a really fast read.
It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep, 'cause I'm not tired. I'm thinking about the days we used to shine when we were young. I told you that we should start a band and reach for the sky. It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep, I'm just not tired. I can hear the raindrops falling. It's cold outside, and I kinda feel like calling, but it's too late now. I just miss you. I just miss you. We were such a constellation, right? No, you'd agree. Made a reputation for ourselves at age 18. We had the devil on our shoulders telling us what we should do. I wonder if you think about me too. I can hear the raindrops falling. It's cold outside, and I kinda feel like calling,
shatter me, but I did go to Barnes and I got some books while I was in there. So I'm gonna give you guys a little haul. I'm only on page 25. I didn't have a ton of time to read last night, and this morning I also didn't have a ton of time to read. I have been so busy with family things, so as you guys are aware, there's just a lot going on, and I feel like reading has become like my way to just like relax and like turn my brain on, turn my brain off, which has been so nice. So the first thing that I picked up when I was in there, which I feel like you guys can probably guess, is Iron Flame. So excited to read this. I still can't believe that I finished a 500-page book in literally 2 days. Wild to me. I kind of want to start this like, I don't know, soon, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do like another fantasy video or if I'm just going to read this or what, but this is a 600-page book, so it's even longer. What's funny is I actually was in line for this. I didn't even realize that there would be like an actual line, but I was in line for this, and the line like didn't go super far, but she opened the door for us to like go in and get our books. And while I was picking this up, the girl was like, I heard that the ending of this book, like a lot of people are just like not happy with the ending. So I was just like, like, please don't tell me that. So I am excited to read this, but I'm hoping that the ending is like good. Picked this up, and then I also picked up another book. I picked up the special edition copy of Fourth Wing. I just loved it so much, so I wanted to get the special edition copy, but I do think that I'm going to put the other copy into a little free library, just because, I don't know, I feel like I don't want to have 2 books. Like, I just don't. Like, I don't feel like I need 2 books. I don't know if I'm gonna read this again. Maybe I will, but if someone's like wanting to read this and they don't have a copy, I can just have this copy. I don't know. Maybe I should keep the other one. Comment below if you guys think I should keep it. I do have one special edition book, literally one, and it's Love in Other Words, and I am so glad I kept the special edition copy because one of my friends is actually reading the other book, and I want to read the book, Love in Other Words, and now it's nice because I have 2 copies, but that's a 5-star book for me, so I know I'm gonna like want to read that again and again. This was a 4-star book, so I don't know if I'm gonna want to read it again and again and again, but I do love this special edition. It just like looked so cool, and I just was like, I need this in my house. So I got both of those, and then I also picked up another book, which this book is literally coming in the mail, but I've heard so many good things about it. It released today, so I was like, you know what, I need it, and I picked up Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I think I'm gonna start this book before it actually gets to my house. I absolutely loved the Dreamland Billionaire series, literally rated every single book 4 stars, and I feel like her writing is just so fun, and I've really missed it. So I cannot wait to read this. And I also saw someone on TikTok, on the front they wrote that there's like a little quote, and it says, "To those whose love language is words of affirmation, your praise kink is safe with me and Julian Lopez." That is literally my love language. I am a words of affirmation girl, so I was like, you know what? I gotta buy it. I think I'm gonna start it, and I'm definitely gonna start it before like the new book comes. So can't wait to read this one. Really excited about it. And then I also got a little candle. This is Dark Academia, and it has notes of vintage leather and oud, which I thought would be really perfect for the season. Oh, it smells so good. It says, smells like melancholy moods and secret societies. So these are all the books that I picked up today, and I'm really glad that I did. I think that I'm gonna put one of these in a free library, but I haven't decided 100%. Comment below if you guys think that I should keep both copies or give it to a little free library. Those are the only options. I thought about like mailing it to like a friend or something, and I was like, no, I don't really wanna do that. I wanna like continue to give books to people who I don't think would have access to like more popular books. Like this book was expensive. Like, let me see if I can find the receipt. So Fourth Wing, Iron Flame was $26.99, and then the Dark Academia candle was $23. Excuse me, like that's the price of a book. I did not realize that this small candle, I just picked it up as I was like walking through and was getting like I was just in line. I did not realize it was this price. When she like rang it up, I was like, $105. I'm like, that's a lot for 3 books, but I was like, those are thick books, so like maybe they're just super expensive. But the special edition copy was $29.69. So I don't know, I just want to like gift someone with a book that maybe they wouldn't have access to. So I think I'm gonna put it in the little free library, I'm pretty sure. But let's head outside and read for a little bit. I want to get more into Shatter Me, and I've heard really good things about it. I'm only 25 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it. So let's go read some more.
You look at me like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different, still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments, doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors, they kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes, they never.
Friends, we have come to the end of our road with this video, and I'm officially a fantasy girl. Like, I won't say that I'm like gonna be the one who reads like every single fantasy like back to back to back, but I do really enjoy fantasy, and I'm so excited to be able to say that because I don't know, I didn't think that I would enjoy fantasy at all. Like, if someone had told me like, hey, read a fantasy, you'll like it, I literally every single time they would say that, I just did not believe them. So I'm really excited to be like into a new genre. I will say that romance will always be top tier. And I think that if I'm like if I were to read 20 books a month, like let's just say I had like a great reading month, I can probably see myself sprinkling in maybe like 3 fantasies and like 3 thrillers. Like, I primarily love romance, and I even found myself while I was reading these books like itching to get back to a romance. So I think that I will be reading fantasies like intermittently between romances. But the first book that I finished is Fourth Wing, and I actually am going to take this to a free little library and donate it because I don't know, I just think it's cool like that someone can experience the joy of this book, because I did end up picking up the special edition copy. I, for a while, was like, do I want to give away like the original? But the special edition is so like beautiful, and I can't see myself needing 2 books. Like, I just don't need them. And I think the covers are similar enough where it's not like my Love and Other Words covers where like one is completely different. I feel like they're still pretty similar. I just like this one a little bit better. I think it looks really cool. It has like the black on it and the red, and I don't know, this one's cool too, but I just really like this one. So we are gonna keep this one, and it also has like the black edging, which I think is really neat. We're gonna give this one away because we do not hoard books here. We give away books that we either don't wanna read or we just think that someone else would love. I love unhauling. I don't like keeping things that I'm not going to read. So the first thing I'll say about this book, I feel like I've talked about this book already since I finished it. The first thing I'll say is that this book, I think, is great for someone who is like, I don't know, who typically likes action movies or like things with action, because I think if you go into this book expecting it to be like Twilight or a fantasy where it's just like all straight romance, like, you know, they're in college and they're like in love and like, you know, that kind of thing, do not go into this book thinking that. I think I went in expecting it to be this like super heavy romance similar to Twilight, because that was my only fantasy I've ever read, and like that I don't even think is like true fantasy, because it didn't really have, I mean, I guess it is fantasy because they're vampires, but like it just didn't really have the same vibe as like the 2 other fantasies I ended up reading. But it had very heavy romance, and this one has a subplot of romance, and it's a very heavy subplot of romance, and I can see there being maybe like a love triangle or something in Iron Flame. But I do think if you go into this book, know that there is romance, but it's a heavy subplot. It's not like what's completely driving the story. What's driving the story is seeing Violet and her growth, and I kid you not, I finished this in 2 days, and that is so rare because this book is so freaking tall. Like, I think that I actually took more time reading Shatter Me than I took reading Fourth Wing. I think a large part of that is because this is all straight dialogue, but you also really get immersed with the characters. Like, you learn to love like her best friends, and you learn to like hate the people that she hates. You learn to root for her and like hope that she'll get to the point where she's like not looked at as like weak and stuff, and you like root for the dragons and like just everyone. So I am really excited to read Iron Flame. I obviously literally went out and picked it up, and I will probably gonna be reading it within the next few days. I don't know if I'll read it this weekend just because I like want to get back into romances. Make sure you guys are subscribed, because there actually is gonna be a video where I'm gonna be reading all new releases. That's the next video that's coming. We're also gonna do a little book shopping in Target, because today they have like buy two get one free, I think. So I want to go and like go book shopping. So that'll be literally in the next video that comes on Tuesday, so get ready for that. But yeah, so love this book. I rated this book 4 stars, which is a solid read. Absolutely was blown away by this book, because I did not think that I would like fantasy, and I didn't really have anything to compare it to either. So I was telling Brady, I was like, maybe I want to like read other fantasies before I like rate it. And he's like, no, like you should give it like your true rating, because then it'll help people who like aren't into fantasy, who maybe don't have it like comparison. Maybe they will like be able to understand like your thought process. And I'm like, okay, that, I guess it makes sense. So I didn't have anything to compare this to, and I still rated it 4 stars, which I think is really great. Then I end up reading Shatter Me, which I also really enjoyed. This is a series, and the thing about this book that I really liked is it was super fast paced. Like, you literally get right into it. You get right into the action and the drama. The difference between these two is I think the action in this one is more like we're trying to stay alive, like it's end of the world vibes, like that kind of thing. And this is more like we're watching her grow, we're watching her get stronger, we're watching her go through like competition. So different vibes, but like still obviously like it's fantasy. I rated this one at 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed it, but I do think that the romance in this one kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was like, wait, you trust this guy or you don't trust this guy? Like, I don't know what's happening. And maybe in the second book, I'll have like a better understanding of like why it went so fast to begin with. But this book, if you guys don't know, it's about a girl who anytime she touches someone, they like die. And so she has like this fatal touch, and the government is like taking her and like trying to use her as this like war weapon. And it's super easy. It's YA, like super easy to read. There isn't any like jargon or anything. It's like literally the government, and I don't want to say government because it is like the government, but the world is like falling apart. It's kind of like what you would envision like the end of our world to look like people don't have food, and like they're relying on the government because they like don't like have anything to sustain themselves. And the person who's like the leader of the government is like 19. So it's very, very, very easy to read, like super easy to read. I will say that this book gave poetic vibes to me sometimes. Like, I don't want to read anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but some of the way that it's written reminds me of like poetry in a way. Not like boring or anything. I mean, I'm not a big poetry reader, so like if you're a poetry reader, I'm not saying all poetry is boring, but it just was a different style of writing. So I think that if the romance had been like a little bit slower to begin with and given me more time to like fall in love with them like as a couple, I think I would have liked this more. But then again, this book was only 329 pages, and I kid you not, like I just blew through this. I was really busy like while I was reading this book, so it took like a little bit longer than I thought it would, but it still didn't take like any time. But I'm stopping here, and I'm not going to finish Powerless because I'm a huge mood reader and I'm in the mood for a romance. Like, I'm itching for a romance. I can feel myself wanting to read a romance, so that's what we're gonna do. So I'll probably do another video where I read Powerless, and then maybe I'll read Iron Flame together. So let me know if you guys will want me to do like another like video where I'm reading only fantasy and giving you my thoughts. I thought this was fun. It's very different, and I like doing videos like this that are like one specific thing, but I am a huge mood reader, so sometimes if I'm like only reading thrillers or only reading fantasy or only reading romance, sometimes I'm like, I want to read something else, literally just because I know that I like can't. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the little hauls and like the book hauls and all the bookish things that I showed you guys, and also the little chats. Make sure you guys come back on Tuesday because we're gonna have a book haul in Target. I'm hoping to get up this bookshelf. It still is not done yet, but I'm hoping to get it up in that video. And then we also are gonna have some book hauls because there still are 3 more book packages I have not opened yet. So we'll open those together, and we'll also be reading either 2 or 3 new releases. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday in the next one. Bye guys.